Welcome to Discover Daily by Perplexity, an AI-generated show on tech, science, and culture. I'm Isaac.
And I'm Sienna. Today we're exploring how just a handful of people can spark massive social change in a principle called the law of the few.
But first, let's look at what else is happening across the realms of space technology and plant science.
Our first story today is about the European Union's ambitious plan to rival Elon Musk's Starlink. The EU has allocated 10.6 billion euros to develop IRIS², a 290-satellite constellation aimed at providing secure, high-speed internet globally by 2030.
This project, known as IRIS², or Infrastructure for Resilience, Interconnectivity, and Security by Satellite, is designed to be a multi-orbital constellation. It's interesting to note that while Starlink currently has a reported 7,000 satellites, IRIS² aims to achieve global coverage with just 290 satellites that Sienna mentioned through a more efficient multi-orbital approach.
What stands out to me is the emphasis on security. Unlike Starlink, IRIS² will offer encrypted communications and even quantum key distribution capabilities. This could be a game changer for governmental and sensitive commercial applications.
Absolutely. The project is funded through a public-private partnership, with the EU providing about 6.5 billion euros and the private sector contributing the remaining 4.1 billion. It's led by a consortium called SpaceRISE, which includes aerospace giants Airbus and Thales Alenia Space.
This move by the EU seems to be about more than just internet connectivity. It's a strategic effort to establish technological sovereignty and reduce dependence on foreign satellite networks. What do you think this means for the future of global satellite communications, Isaac?
Well, it's likely to increase competition in the satellite internet market, which could lead to improved services and potentially lower costs for consumers. It also highlights the growing importance of space-based infrastructure in our increasingly connected world. As this project develops, we'll be watching to see how it impacts global internet access, especially in underserved areas of Europe and Africa.
Thanks, Isaac. Now let's move on to our second story, which takes us from outer space to the plant world. Researchers at Tel Aviv University have made a surprising discovery. Plants emit ultrasonic sounds when under stress. The study revealed that stressed plants produce sounds in the range of 40 to 80 kilohertz, which is too high for human ears to detect. These sounds have been likened to the popping of popcorn. Using ultrasonic microphones, scientists recorded these emissions from various plants, including tomato and tobacco species.
Interesting. What kinds of stress trigger these sounds?
The primary triggers seem to be drought and physical damage. For example, tomato plants produced up to 35 sounds per hour when deprived of water, while tobacco plants emitted around 11 sounds per hour. Cutting stems also prompted increased sound emissions.
This discovery could have significant implications for agriculture and our understanding of plant biology. How might this research be applied?
It could affect how we monitor plant health. Farmers could potentially use acoustic tools for early detection of plant stress, allowing for more targeted interventions. It might lead to more efficient water use and reduce pesticide application. There's also the intriguing possibility that plants might be communicating with each other through these sounds, which could change our understanding of plant ecology.
It's amazing how much we're still learning about the natural world around us. As this research progresses, we'll be keeping an ear out, so to speak, for new developments in plant communication and stress detection.
Speaking of influence and communication, our deep dive today explores a concept that's had a significant impact on how we understand social trends and behaviors: the law of the few.
The law of the few, introduced by Malcolm Gladwell in his book The Tipping Point, suggests that a small group of individuals with unique social skills can drive significant social changes and trends. Can you break this down for us, Sienna?
Certainly, Isaac. The law of the few operates on the principle that a small group of people can have a disproportionate impact on social trends and behaviors. It aligns with the 80-20 rule, or Pareto principle, which suggests that roughly 80% of effects come from 20% of causes. In the context of social dynamics, this law asserts that the success of any social epidemic is heavily dependent on the involvement of a select few individuals with particular and rare social gifts.
So, who are these influential few?
Gladwell identifies three key types of influential people: connectors, mavens, and salesmen. Connectors are people with wide social networks who can spread ideas quickly. Mavens are information specialists who accumulate knowledge and share it with others. Salesmen are charismatic individuals who have the skills to persuade and influence others.
Can you give us some examples of these types of influencers in action?
Sure. For connectors, think of someone like Oprah Winfrey, who has bridged diverse audiences and introduced new ideas to the mainstream. A maven might be someone like consumer advocate Clark Howard, who provides detailed advice on personal finance. And for salesmen, Steve Jobs was renowned for his ability to make complex technology appealing to the masses.
How has this theory been applied in real-world situations?
One historical example that illustrates this concept well is Paul Revere's Midnight Ride. As a well-connected member of the Sons of Liberty, Revere leveraged his extensive network to rapidly spread the warning about British troop movements. His effectiveness stemmed not just from the information he carried, but from his ability to strategically disseminate it to key individuals who could further amplify the message.
That's a fascinating historical application. But has this theory faced any criticism?
Yes, it has. Critics argue that Gladwell's law of the few oversimplifies complex social phenomena and lacks scientific rigor. Some researchers contend that Gladwell overstates his case and relies too heavily on anecdotal evidence rather than robust empirical data. There are concerns about the potential misuse of such theories in policymaking or business strategies without proper scientific validation.
Despite these criticisms, it seems the law of the few continues to be influential in popular discourse. What should we be watching for in the future regarding this concept?
Moving forward, we should keep an eye on how this theory is applied and tested in various fields, from marketing to public health. We might see more rigorous studies attempting to quantify the impact of key influencers in different contexts. It's also worth watching how the rise of social media and digital influencers might change or reinforce the principles of the law of the few.
Thank you, Sienna. And thanks to our listeners for tuning in to today's episode of Discover Daily. We've covered a lot of ground, from the EU's ambitious satellite project to plants' ultrasonic stress signals and the intriguing concept of the law of the few. For more info on anything we covered today, check out the links in our episode description. And don't forget, you can now access Perplexity's AI-powered knowledge base on the go with the mobile app, available for both Android and iOS. We also just released the Perplexity desktop app for Mac OS. In other Perplexity news, Perplexity now offers a comprehensive one-stop shopping solution where you can both research and purchase products. The platform now features Buy with Pro, a first-of-its-kind AI commerce experience, offering one-click checkout and free shipping for Pro users in the US. There's also an innovative Snap to Shop feature that lets you find products by simply taking a photo, and an AI-powered discovery system that provides unbiased product recommendations with clear, visual product cards. The platform integrates with Shopify to access up-to-date product information from businesses across the US, making online shopping easier and more efficient than ever. We'll be back with more stories that matter. Until then, stay curious.